see. We are short Mr. Webb, but we do have a quorum.
Oh, I thought I saw him on here. Yeah, I see
I'm
him on.
here.
So
Him, but
are we all ready to start the meeting?
You're good to go from the technical end, sir.
That's good. Okay. Well, I'll call this meeting of the Transportation Committee Tuesday, March 2nd to order. Do you want to do an actual roll call?
Member Soldner,
Yes?
Member Friedrich,
Present.
Member Thompson,
Here.
Member Wachinski,
Here.
Member Klein,
Present.
Member Lehman,
Present.
and Member Webb.
Present.
Thank you.
All right, that's good. First item we have is the approval of the February 2nd regular meeting minutes. I would entertain a motion to do just that. Member Frederick, second Member Lehman. Any questions or discussion? If not, we'll do a roll call vote.
Member Wachinski,
Yes.
Member Thompson,
Yes.
Member Klein,
Yes.
Member Lehman,
Yes.
Member Webb,
Yes.
Member Friedrich,
Yes.
Chairman Soldner.
Yes, very good. Next item is to recommend the payment of the bills and transfers. We have no transfers. I do have a letter from the auditor saying that she's reviewed the bills and certified that they comply with our adopted rules. And does anyone have any questions? Well, first off, I would entertain a motion to pay those bills. Member Thompson, second. Member Frederick. Does anybody have any questions on any bills? Hopefully they all had an opportunity to see them. I had one, Jerry, on page 7. I'm sorry, page 4 of 7. Third one, or the second one down is the Global Equipment Company, and I was just curious what that was for.
So that's for some racking for our salt spreaders and to put in our sheds. We were running kind of out of room and didn't have a good spot for us. We bought some racking to put along the walls, and they're going to hold our spreaders.
Okay, all right. That wasn't a regular expenditure, so I was just curious on that.
Sure.
Anyone else have any questions on the bills? All right. Seeing none, we will go ahead and do a roll call vote on those then.
Member Wachinski,
Yes.
Member Thompson,
Yes.
Member Klein,
Yes.
Member Lehman,
Yes.
Member Webb,
Yes.
Member Friedrich,
Yes.
Chairman Soldner.
Yes. So that motion carries and those bills will be paid. Do we have any appearances by members of the public or county employees?
Chairman Soldner, this is Camille, and we do not.
All right, very good. We'll go on then to number 5, departmental matters. The first item is 5A1, request approval of an Illinois Department of Transportation fiscal year 2022, section 5311, formula application for rural areas operating assistance. And I would entertain a motion for that. Member Thompson, second Member Lehman. Jerry, is this your department or is this the administration?
Actually, I'll introduce Jennifer Six and Laura Dick. This is basically the operating agreement or the grants for the funding for Showbus throughout the year. So we do this on a regular basis, but I can turn it over to Jennifer and let her kind of maybe fill you in a little bit more.
All right. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Thank you, Jerry, and Mr. Chairman. Every year, Showbus through the county applies for both federal and state funding in order to sustain operations. And this is the bulk of the available funding for the system. As I think you all know, Showbus is headquartered here in McLean County, but under the auspices of McLean County, there is an intergovernmental agreement which permits service in a number of other counties. So this not only provides for rural residents here, but also throughout central Illinois. This particular application is again for federal section 5311, which is to say public transit service providers in rural areas. And it is, again, a routine application. This year, there's a little bit of question as to how the actual funding picture will wind up because, of course, Congress is still looking at a transportation bill and we're into a new administration where policy is still being made. So there may be changes throughout the years. There was last year with the CARES Act, also under 5311. But this is the sort of core of the funding that is available to Showbus, in which they use, as I said, to provide service throughout central Illinois and, of course, here in McLean County.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions, or Ms. Dick, would you like to add anything?
Thank you. I always have trouble unmuting myself. I think Jennifer did a great job. Thank you so much.
Okay, Jerry, do you have anything to add?
Nope.
Okay. If no one has any comments or questions, we'll go ahead and do a roll call vote on this then.
Member Wachinski,
Yes.
Member Thompson,
Yes.
Member Klein,
Yes.
Member Lehman,
Yes.
Member Webb,
Yes.
Member Friedrich,
Yes.
Chairman Solmer.
Yes. Next item is 5A2, request approval of an IDOT fiscal 2022 downstate operating assistance program application for rural areas. And I would entertain a motion for this. Let's see, Member Klein, I see you. Second, Member Frederick. All right. Jennifer, is this you then again?
Yes, the two, number 3 here and number 4, sorry, 2. Sorry, the Downstate Operating Assistance Program is a state-funded support for rural public transportation and other segments of the transit area outside the Chicago area. Again, this is a routine annual process where the operators of these systems submit an application for funding. As I said, this is a state-supported program, and it's been very important over the years to downstate providers because, of course, the focus is usually on the very large-scale systems in the Chicago area. So once again, a support for Showbus service in McLean County and throughout central Illinois.
All right. Any comments or questions? Okay, Julie, we're ready to vote.
Member Wachinski,
Yes.
Member Thompson,
Yes.
Member Klein,
Yes.
Member Lehman,
Yes.
Webb,
Yes.
Member Friedrich,
Yes.
Chairman Solmer.
Yes. Next item, 5A3, request approval of a purchase of service agreement between McLean County and Showbus for rural public transportation in fiscal year 2022. Who would like to make that motion? Member Klein, second. Member Thompson. All right. Jennifer, are we going to give this to you again?
Yes.
All right.
This one and the next one. This is the annual agreement in which the county agrees with Showbus that they are providing rural transportation in this and other counties, again, under the aegis of McLean County as the sort of lead agency. And this is a companion piece to the 2 agreements we just discussed. And again, it's an annual renewal.
I do have a question on this, and I guess some of these other items. Do all the other counties that are involved with us in this go through the same process?
No, because again, from the point of view of acquiring the funding and carrying out the operations and satisfying all the regulations, the Showbus starts with McLean County, and then there's a series of agreements between McLean County and the others, most of which are frankly too small and too underfunded to be able to manage the sheer mechanics of the process. We're fortunate in that we do have the capacity here, and so does Showbus, and that enables a lot of people to be able to get around it, rural McLean County and outside of it.
Okay, very good. Any questions on any of that? Okay, if not, we're ready to vote.
Member Wachinski,
Yes.
Member Thompson,
Yes.
Member Klein,
Yes.
Member Lehman,
Yes.
Member Webb,
Yes.
Member Friedrich,
Yes.
Chairman Solner.
Yes. Next item is 5A4, request approval of revised vehicle lease agreement between McLean County and Showbus. I would like to entertain a motion for that. Member Lehman, second. Member Thompson. Okay, Jennifer?
Yes, last time. Again, an annual exercise in updating the agreement between the county, which holds title to these vehicles, and Showbus for their use. And this is a sort of pro forma arrangement. Showbus does all the work of applying for, acquiring, and maintaining all these vehicles. And it's a huge undertaking. I sit back in awe when I watch the organizational part of this. But again, this is the operational part for the next fiscal year.
Okay. Any comments or questions? Member Friedrich?
Yeah, I've got a question on the outdated equipment. You have a couple of them listed there. They up for sale, auction? What's the disposition of those?
I'll turn this over to Laura Dick.
Thank you. We can apply for disposal once they reach an age and a mileage limit. But we do try to push as far as we can on the mileage. So we will, and some of the older vehicles we've actually taken over from agencies that are no longer providing transportation. And while they may be old, they may be low mileage. And in that case, very often IDOT will ask us to take them over and rehabilitate them and put them back into service. If we're able to do that, we do. Otherwise, we request for disposal. And the request for disposal will take from 1.5 to 2 to even 3 years.
Does that answer your question, Mr. Friedrich?
It does. Yeah. I guess if we don't forget about it, and that it does get moved out of the system, and I know some of that might be salvage or scrap, but nonetheless, they're still on the books. That's all I have.
All right. Any other comments or questions? Okay, Julie, we're ready to vote.
Member Wachinski,
Yes.
Member Thompson,
Yes.
Member Klein,
Yes.
Member Lehman,
Yes.
Member Webb,
Yes.
Member Friedrich,
Yes.
Chairman Solner.
Yes, thank you. That concludes our Showbus part of the meeting. Jennifer or Ms. Dick, do either one of you have a comment, or does any member have any questions?
As
I know-
always,
sorry.
we appreciate very much the board's support for this program.
Okay, I know in past years we've had presentations or whatever. Hoping maybe we can do that again in the future, kind of explain a little more about how Showbus works and update us on what's happening. So, okay, well, thank you again for attending, and we will move on with our agenda then.
Thank you.
Next item is, actually, the next two items are approval of resolutions. Wonder if it would be appropriate to lump those together. Does administration or Jerry have a problem with that?
Yeah, I think we can probably lump the two resolutions together.
The, just in order to save our, the number of votes that we have to take. So anyhow, then we're looking at 5A5 and 6. Request approval of resolution for February 23rd project material letting, and request approval of resolution for the February 23rd equipment letting. I would entertain a motion for that. Someone, Member Lehman, was that your hand? Okay. And a second by Member Klein. Okay, Jerry, you want to lead us through those?
Sure. So the first one with the project lettings is three projects. Two of them are Blooming Grove Wind Farm related, and so Lexington East, and then also a small section up on the Shinoa Road. And those are going to be and then last month we had the Colfax Weston Road, so that's going to be the three projects that we do for Blooming Grove Wind Farm here in 21. We'll also have some additional projects in 22. And then Stark Excavating was a little bidder for the Tackett Bridge project in Empire Township. And so that's going to be a Township Bridge program project. And so they were the only bidder on that project, unfortunately. So we recommend approval for all those. And then there's some just some general materials and stuff that we use for Durapatching, hot mix and things. So and then there was also a couple bids in there for trucking companies for the townships to haul material to their township sheds and use that material for oil and ship work. So that was in there, and Limestone Transit was the what received that bid. Any questions on the projects before I move on to the equipment? So then for the equipment, we had two things that we did. One was the hi-ho, and the other one was our sign truck. So back in January, we did the cab and chassis for the sign truck, and this is just putting on the crane and the platform bed. And so and I kind of went on Chairman Soldner's advice on last month about maybe reaching out into a little bit farther away, but we did have a couple more bidders that bid on this type of work instead of just the one company out of Peoria. And so we went with that CSTK on that. Kind of did some research. They all bid 3 different crane models, and so this crane model that they proposed was the better of the 3 cranes. So that's why we chose them over Knapheide. And then we also bid the hi-ho, and the Martin equipment was a little bidder on that. And I think this is going to be a really good piece of equipment for us to do a lot of work. We've been renting one of these. It seems like the last, we've been renting one probably for the last 10 years. In 2020, we spent $16,200 just on renting one of those pieces of equipment. And, this will allow us the flexibility to use it. It seems like a lot of the culverts that we're doing for the townships and that are getting bigger. And so this just allows us a lot more, be a lot more versatile.
So I have a question on the platform bed and the crane. Since that's St. Louis, then do we have to take the truck to them, or will they come to us?
Both. I think they said they would do either one. They would come and get it, or we could take it to them, depending on the schedules and that type of thing, or meet them halfway.
Okay.
Or we might even be able to work it out to where once the cab and chassis come from the manufacturer, it can go directly or go to a dealer down there in St. Louis, and then go directly to CSTK.
Okay. All right. Because I'd hate to add a lot of extra expense by going longer distance, you know, if we had to have somebody stay all night or whatever. So, but anyhow, that's good. Okay.
Yeah, we discussed that a little bit, you know, to try to determine whether it was worth it or not. You know, we didn't think for the life of the vehicle and stuff that it would be traveling back to this facility very much. I mean, if rarely, the other one didn't go back. We don't really take the trucks back to Koenig to have them worked on, in a sense. So, you know, the crane will need to get will need to get inspected every year, and that there is a company out of Peoria that can do the inspections.
Okay, that's good. All right. Any other questions on the, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
member?
Yeah, Jerry, did you get that hi-ho equipped with a detachable bucket and or thumb with different options to make it as versatile as possible instead of just one bucket?
Yes, we did. We did both. We ended up getting 2 buckets with a thumb and with the quick connect, and kind of similar setup with the way our backhoe's set up. So yes, we did make it versatile.
There you go. Attaboy. Thank you.
Any other questions? Member Lehman?
I was just curious, Jerry, you mentioned having rented vehicles in the past. So what percent of the fleet that you currently work with are rented versus county owned?
Usually we just
roughly.
order like special items, and it just seems like more and more we were using the hi-ho a lot longer period of time. So so I thought it would be better to make a purchase as opposed to renting. The type of things that we do rent are like stump grinders, lifts, and stuff like that we don't use on a regular basis. This piece of equipment is going to be used quite a bit. And I will make note there. I don't know if you guys looked at the bid tab or not, but there is after 5 years, there's a guaranteed buyback. So they're going to basically buy that piece of equipment back for $105,000, regardless of how many hours we put on it. That's the price we're going to get. It could be more based on the hours, but you know, we do that every 5 years, and so you know, it's a really good deal for if the amount, you know, if you say we're going to spend $100,000 over the 5-year period, it's really going to be a good deal for us.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Okay, then we're ready to vote. Again, we're on items 5A, 5 and 6. Roll call vote, please.
Member Wachinski,
Yes.
Member Thompson,
Yes.
Member Klein,
Yes.
Member Lehman,
Yes.
Member Webb,
Yes.
Member Friedrich,
Yes.
Member Soldner.
Yes.
Chairman Soldner. Thank you.
All right. Next item is 5A7, request approval of engineering service agreement with the Renat, Wade and Morchin Incorporated, Horse Farm Road, County Highway 21, Section 19/00058/07-WR. I would entertain a motion to approve that. Member Friedrich, second. Member Thompson. Okay, Jerry, go ahead.
So this was we did a motor fuel tax resolution for this last month, and we had submitted for RFPs, requests for proposals, and we did about half a dozen firms, and we picked. We haven't never worked with these guys, but they had a good proposal, and so we decided to have them basically do all the design work for this reconstruction of the Horse Farm Road.
Is this a new engineering firm?
No, they've been around. I don't know. They've got an office in Peoria that's fairly new, I think, but they've been around more Central Illinois, or I'm sorry, Southern Illinois and St. Louis area.
I wish you would have picked someone with some easier names for now. I don't know if I did them justice or not, but I apologize if I didn't. Any other questions? All right, we're ready to have a roll call vote.
Member Wachinski,
Yes.
Member Thompson,
Yes.
Member Klein,
Yes.
Member Lehman,
Yes.
Member Webb,
Yes.
Member Friedrich,
Yes.
Chairman Soldner.
Yes. Next item is 5A8, request approval of an engineering service agreement with Hampton, Lazzini, and Renwick for the Hoffman Bridge, section 21-00153-03-BR in Colfax Road, County Highway 13. I would entertain a motion. Member Klein, second. Member Lehman. All right, Jerry?
So I have a few pictures here of this bridge. So this bridge was originally constructed in 1953, and the deck was widened in 1988, and it has a whole slew of issues with it, I guess you could say. So there's kind of, so this is looking west, and you kind of can see how bad the deck is, and so we talked about, we could do like we're doing on a couple of these items later on the packet, but there's a lot more issues with this one. But you can kind of see the rebar on the deck at the time of inspection. These have been filled in since then. So, and so here's like some outside beams. So what I was wanting to show here. So this picture was done in 2013, and so you kind of see the number 6 and the crack that's coming up there. And then we did another inspection in 2019. You can just see how much that it's deteriorated since, in 6 years. So you can see all that exposed rebar and that. So here's another picture of 21, and then you can kind of just see how the concrete's just starting to pop out, and we're getting a lot of spalling that's occurring in the underside of these decks. So I'll go through these quick because they're all kind of similar, but you can just see kind of some of the deterioration and the spalling that's occurring at these when we did these inspections. And so we rented a snooper truck. That's another thing that we actually sometimes rent every few years, and we did that in 2019. And then you kind of see some of the rockers up around the abutments. They're starting to rust here at the bottom, and so it's just time for this to be replaced.
All right. This is, if you're familiar with Colfax, you don't have a lot of options from coming from the southwest. So this is a pretty main road, or one of the few roads to get into Colfax. So is this going to be a lengthy process?
Yeah, it'll probably be a 4-month project.
Oh. Okay. Well, again, it's not that there isn't ways to get into Colfax other than this road, but I assume you're going to try and do it so it falls in the calendar when it's not the busy part as far as school or harvest, I guess.
Right. We'll try to make sure we'll have it done before harvest, so it may start before school is out, probably in April, and we're looking at actually a 2023 for this project, just because we had a project scheduled here for 2021 over by Stanford, and we ran into some environmental issues, and so that delayed that project to 2022. And this was originally going to be in 2022, but I decided to go ahead and get the engineering going in case we ran into any environmental issues on this structure. And so, but it's actually a 23 project.
Is there any concerns that it's going to deteriorate past being safe before then?
No, I think that's a 2-year inspection, so it'd probably be up for inspections this year, and we'll keep an eye on it, but none of that's, it's not critical to the bridge at all. I mean, it's cosmetic, you want to say, but it still needs to be done before it becomes a major issue.
Okay. Any questions on that? All right.
Chairman, if I may.
I'm sorry, Member Lehman, then Mr. Webb.
Yes, so I did just have a question on part of the contract itself. So not on the work, but within the contract when it talks about, if you reference page number 63 in Exhibit A, it has the special provision for employment practices. In this piece, it says in the number 2, it says equal employment opportunity. And in the equal employment opportunity section under A, it uses the language sexual preference. If you check out so it also references then a little bit later down that it's in line with the Illinois Human Rights Act. In the Illinois Human Rights Act, it actually uses the language of sexual orientation versus sexual preference. Sexual preference, at least in my understanding of some of the things that exist out there, doesn't include a wide variety, right? So when we're looking at sexual preference, that's kind of some dated language. In the Illinois Human Rights Act, when it speaks to sexual orientation, that also includes gender identity. And at least in this contract, it doesn't seem like it has any focus on gender identity. So I just want to make sure that as we're entering into some of these contracts with some of the folks that we're working with, that the language is legally protecting and making sure that we're not only focusing on the protected classes that are literally written out in Section 2A, but under the Illinois Human Rights Act, it uses the orientation term. So I'm not sure what our process is, but I just wanted to bring it up and make sure that we're focusing also on inclusion for the folks that we're operating with and we're working with in the county, that it includes gender identity since the state does.
If I may, Chairman, this is Camille, and I'm trying to find a camera. Thank you. May I address that, Chairman Soldner? Thank you. Thank you, Member Lehman, for bringing that to our attention. I know that Mr. Spanos has joined us. Now there he is. And Mr. Spanos and Ms. Vasquez, they review all of the contracts. And so that will be something very helpful to us that we take a look at. As you probably know, we review hundreds of contracts. And certainly that precision is important to us. And so thank you for bringing it to our attention. I'm assuming you would just wish that we would take a look at that. Do you have any other directive for us at this time?
No, I just wanted to bring it to attention before everything goes into the packet and gets signed off on down the way, just to make sure that everyone's protected on all ends, and just to give a little bit of additional foresight. So
thank you very much. Thank you, Chairman, for allowing me to address that.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, then we are ready to vote. And again, that is 5A, number 8. Roll call vote, Julie?
Member Wachinski,
Yes.
Member Thompson,
Yes.
Member Klein,
Yes.
Member Lehman,
yes.
Member Webb,
Yes.
Member Friedrich,
Yes.
Chairman Soldner.
Yes, and I apologize, Mr. Webb, did you have a question?
It was more of a statement, I guess. It is fine. I would just, if I may.
Yeah.
Definitely. I just wanted to reiterate your point about this bridge not being on the docket until 2023. And so I don't know if it's common practice to, after a review or a testing of the bridge, if it's on our radar and we're checking it more often or not. So I appreciate you bringing up that this is not going to be it's in the future, but it's in the near future. So just for safety reasons, I wanted to make sure that that's something that's on everyone's radar, I guess.
That's a good point, and I apologize for missing you there. Okay.
Can I follow up with that, Chairman?
Yes.
Just so Member Webb, just so you're aware, so when we go out and then we inspect these bridges, we rate all the different components of the bridges based on like a scale, and it's kind of a universal universal criteria. And so so most of the components on this bridge are what we consider a 5, and most of our bridges in the county are 6s and 7s and 8s, and but this so when it gets into 5, that's when we start looking at replacing or doing some rehab work and that type of thing. So if it gets down to like a 2 or 3, then we're talking safety issues. So we don't really have that here on this particular structure. So just want to make that clear.
Much appreciated.
Okay. All right, then our next item is 5A, number 9. Request approval of bridge fund resolution for the Brookside Bridge deck repair, Downs Road, County Highway 36, Section 20-00145-05-BR, and I would entertain a motion. Member Friedrich, second member Thompson. All right, Jerry?
So I'm actually going to kind of show the pictures of 9 and 10 together because they're similar. And we did this on a project near Downs last year, and I have some pictures of that as well I can show. But what basically this bridge is, we're not going to replace the bridge or anything. We're just going to scarify the top of the deck off, and then put a new latex concrete overlay on the deck. So the first pictures here are so this is the Brookside Bridge. It's just a couple miles west of Downs. So you can kind of see all the delaminations that we have, and that's been filled in and patched over the years. And so there's kind of just another view looking the other way. You can kind of see. So the rest of the bridge is in good shape, all the substructure and superstructure. So they'll thought this one be a good one for replacing the deck. And then the next one is, this is on Old Peoria Road. So this is a township bridge in Dry Grove Township. And we've kind of been watching this one for quite a few years, and decided this was a year to do that the township had enough money. But you kind of can see over here on this side where it's it's delaminating there, and he's been filling in the holes. When we actually go out and when we inspect these bridges, if we find these potholes, we do what we call sounding the bridge, and so we take an apparatus and go over, and you can almost tell where the bridge is hollow at. And so I think when they did that, 75% of this bridge was delaminated or could have potential delay, and it's not all popped out, but it could potentially pop out in the future. And so that's for this project, and you kind of can see that here. Let me back up, and then we did this project in Downs last year on the Albus Bridge. And so what so this is the before picture, and you kind of see all the delaminations that they do, and that. And so what they come in is so this is where they scarify 2.5 inches of the, about 1.5 inches of the bridge, and to basically break up all that loose concrete. And so this is kind of what you're left with after. You can kind of see the rebar and everything, and that's good. That's what you want, to get all that the bad concrete out of there. And then there's a machine that comes and picks up all the debris that's left over, and that's what they're doing here. So you can kind of see how they've cleaned it as they've gone along. And then they come in, and we actually go in and sound the deck again, and then keep finding the bad spots. And then they come and jackhammer all those bad spots out. And so that's what they do. And it's a lot of cleaning and that. And so these marks are like areas that they, the kind of areas where they need to take out, and they try to do that. And then what they do is it's kind of more, so that's kind of what the product looks like before the latex overlay goes on. And so this is the company out of Chicago that did this. Stark had the bridge, but they hired this as their subcontractor. And so this has the latex and the water and the cement and the sand and aggregate all in here, and so it mixes it right on site. And so you can see that, how it's all coming out in fine, right on the belt here in fine lines. And over here on this corner, it's kind of the latex fibers that are going in there. And and then they use these buggies to haul the concrete to the site. And you kind of can see where they started here, and then they come and then spread out the concrete as they go. And so this is the finished product on this particular county bridge. We grooved the deck, and you can see how it all worked out. So I think this is going to be a good product to use, and so that's what we're proposing on these next two bridges.
And any idea on the length of time that takes to do that?
It's kind of all subcontractor dependent, but we give them about once they start, they have like 4 weeks to complete it. So and they'll probably do both of these bridges at the same time. We've also talked to IDOT, and they're going to have one on their April letting. So hopefully we can do these all together and get. It'll probably be the same contractor with the same subs. So hopefully we can get decent prices by doing this.
Okay. All right. Member
So
Frederick?
you're looking at starting in April on these?
We're gonna do a letting. It probably won't start till once we put out for bid. Probably till June. But I think we told them they had to be done by September 1st was the completion date.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, we're ready to vote then. Again, this is 5A number 9, roll call vote.
Member Wachinski,
Yes.
Member Thompson,
Yes.
Member Klein,
Yes.
Member Lehman,
Yes.
Member Webb,
Yes.
Member Friedrich,
Yes.
Chairman Solver.
Yes. All right, next item is 5A10, request approval of bridge construction petition for bridge deck repair on Dry Grove Road District, the Lively Bridge, section 20-15130-00BR. And we saw the pictures, I believe, of this one. I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Member Klein, second. Okay, Jerry?
So yeah, so this is it's a township structure. So this bridge is going to be a 50-50 split with Dry Grove Township, and it's a smaller bridge, and we're also not going to need to do all the items on the township structure as we are on the county structure, because we'll come in on the county structure and groove the deck and put a protective coat on it, whereas on this one on the township bridge, we will need to do that. So it's a little bit less in price, and but it's also about 50 square yards less in area.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions or comments? All right, seeing none, ready to vote?
And I'm sorry, can I get who initially moved that? I heard I heard your voice and Mr. Webb's voice, and
I think, Mr. Friedrich, did you make that motion?
No, it was Mr. Webb who moved.
Okay,
I was gonna say that I heard his voice, but I didn't know who you said, Jim, so I wanted to make sure.
Mr. Webb, and then I believe
Member
Member Klein seconded.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay, thank you, sorry. Member Wachinski,
Yes.
Member Thompson,
Yes.
Member Klein,
Yes.
Member Lehman,
Yes.
Member Webb,
Yes.
Member Friedrich,
Yes.
Chairman Solner.
yes. Motion passes. Next item, 5A11, request approval of an engineering services agreement with Hampton, Lizini, and Renwick for the Bandsaw Bridge, Martin Road District, section 21-22140-00BR, and I would entertain a motion for that. Member Thompson, second member Lehman. Okay, Jerry?
So, so these next two items are what we call Scour critical bridges. And so, back in 2010, basically we had to go out and kind of monitor all our bridges and see if we had any that were Scour critical. And I think at the time we had 6, and we had to, on those we had to do what they call a plan of action. And so basically kind of determined what can be done to counteract the scour. And I got a little diagram here to kind of show what the scour is. So what happens is when it floods, the water hits the piers, and depending on the type of soils that we have down in this area, it starts to undermine the piles there along the piers, and it creates a scour hole from the force of water on top and then below. And so there's just kind of another, maybe a better diagram that shows that. So basically anytime it floods, we have to go out and basically check on how much scour occurs at each time and make sure it doesn't get down to the scour critical portion. And so what we have is on the this is the Bandsaw Bridge. And so so you can kind of see where the water's basically hitting this, and or actually it's coming from the other way, but it's starting to basically undermine this pier and the piles, and to where we need to do some countermeasures to protect it. So you kind of can see how it's all sloughing off the bank here, and that's just the velocity of the water. This is around the abutments where it's starting to kind of undermine underneath the abutments. And we've been watching this for a lot of years to do that. Here you can kind of see how straight up and down this bank is. So we're going to basically put riprap in there to do that. And so on this picture here, I just want to show you the sign over here is kind of when it gets up, this is like flood stage. And so this allows us to see how high the water gets, and to see whether we need to go out and after the flooding event recedes, how high it got, and what we need to check on it. So there's just kind of another picture. Well, this is actually the Morris Mill Bridge. So this is item number 12. I can show you these pictures real quick as well. But you can kind of see how the abutments are starting to be exposed here. And here's a picture of the flooding. So this is actually a good picture. You can kind of see the velocities coming around in this debris pile that piles up in the pier. And so this is another picture of the velocity that's causing the scour underneath there. And so what we do, and if you look on, so we go and put riprap in, and we've done this on a county bridge about 10 years ago. So this is kind of a diagram of what we do. We'll put about 12 inches or so of riprap on the slopes, and then we go about 10 foot on either side of the piers and put riprap all the way around the pier, and then downstream and upstream as well. So that way the water, the pier is protected from the water and during the major floods, and we don't have the scour occurring. So that's what these agreements are. So this HLR firm about 10 years ago, they're the ones that they did a lot of the scour analysis for us, and so they've got kind of the history of the bridges and have the plans ready. This is kind of updating the plan. These agreements are going to update the plans, update some of the environmental work that's going to be done, and a lot of times the townships really haven't had money to do this work because you know, we're probably talking $150,000 to do that. And what these townships are going to do is they're going to use their Rebuild Illinois funds that they've received the last couple of years for this work.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? All right, seeing none, then we'll have a roll call vote. Again, this is number 11.
Member Wachinski,
Yes.
Member Thompson,
Yes.
Member Klein,
Yes.
Member Lehman,
Yes.
Member Webb,
Yes.
Member Friedrich,
Yes.
Chairman Solomon.
Yes. Next item then is number 12, request approval of engineering services agreement with Hampton, Luzini, and Renwick for Moore's Mill Bridge, Mount Hope Road District, Section 21-24-121-00BR. Who would like to make that motion? Member Thompson, second member Lehman. Okay, Jerry?
So yeah, I showed the pictures here. I just want to make a comment. So if you look on page 93, you can see where this bridge is at. So this is Sugar Creek, and this is where we have a lot of problems because this is where the soils are sandy, and so the county bridge is just upstream in number 5212 there on the County Highway 59. And that was the one that we did this work on back in the day. But this 5213 it's kind of one that we have to really monitor every time it floods. At 5208, that's downstream from this, we do monitor that, but we don't have the issues like this one on 5213. So just want to kind of make that point. A lot of this is down south where the soils are sandier.
Okay. Member Lehman, you have a question?
Yeah, since this is one of them that you have to monitor pretty regularly, how long do you anticipate the riprap once it's in place, working to hold things together? Like, how long is this fix anticipated for?
I would say until the bridge would need to be replaced, unless we get really crazy floods and it starts washing the riprap out, and we may have to go back and replace some that type of thing. And we'll keep an eye on that as well. But it should protect the bridge for the rest of the life of the bridge.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions? Okay, then we're ready to vote on number 12.
Member Wachinski,
Yes.
Member Thompson,
Yes.
Member Klein,
Yes.
Member Lehman,
Yes.
Member Webb,
Yes.
Member Friedrich,
Yes.
Chairman Solomon.
Yes. Next item is 5A13, request approval of engineering services agreement with Cummins Engineering Corporation for the Anchor Road District, Miners 2 Bridge, Section 21-02124-00BR. I would entertain a motion. Member Friedrich, second member Lehman. Okay, Jerry?
I got 2 pictures of this one as well. So this is in Anchor Township, and this is going to be a township bridge project that we're going to do in 2022. And so it's kind of replacing this box culvert. It's starting to show its age as well. That's just kind of a couple pictures of it. Kind of can see some of the pop outs here. No major issues, but we just got quite a few of these pop outs that are starting to occur in this structure. Couple cracks here in the middle on this middle bay. The wing wall starting to have a major crack, so that's kind of an issue because then we'll start losing the soil. Just kind of a couple more pictures here. There's some tile that run right in the middle of the box that we're going to have to address during construction. But you can see all the grass and debris that's coming out, so that means that's sucking the road as well. So, and I don't know if you could tell by those first pictures, You kind of can see the major crack in there. And this was a picture in 2016 where it's fairly clean. You can see a little bit of debris coming around here, but I'll go back to that other one. So yeah, you kind of can see just it's gotten worse. And then if I go back to the beginning here, you can kind of see, look, there looks like the road commissioner's done quite a bit of patching here where it's starting to, undermine a little bit. So it just needs addressed.
All right. Any questions on that? Okay, seeing none, we'll do a roll call vote.
Member Wachinski,
Yes.
Member Thompson,
Yes.
Member Klein,
Yes.
Member Lehman,
Yes.
Member Webb,
Yes.
Member Friedrich,
Yes.
Chairman Solver.
Yes. That concludes our action items. We do have one informational item, and it's on report on positions recently filled on page 8. And I see we have one in the highway department. Jerry, would you like to comment on that?
Sure, yeah, we did have a fleet manager that left in January and went to work for Caterpillar, and so we were fortunate that we got a real good candidate here that had previously worked for the town of Normal, so he'd been around this equipment and that, so should be a good fit for us.
All right, very good. I wanted to make a comment. I've gotten a couple of good comments on our decision to rename part of the Towanda Barnes Road in honor of Mr. Bundy, and I was just wanting to, I had a question, do we have an idea when, are we going to put signs up and all that, or when that's going to happen?
Yeah, we're looking to order the signs this week. Actually, we had a sign company that wanted to donate the signs to the highway department for it. So, so yeah, as soon as we get them in, we can put them up.
Okay, that's good. The other thing I was going to ask, we had some pretty nasty weather here this last month. I was curious how all our equipment and our manpower fared. Do we have any major breakdowns or issues?
Well, outside of mailboxes, we're in real good shape. I think the total count was like 50 mailboxes, or something like that. But we just got our equipment running. I think we had a couple trucks that were down, but we got those running here just a few days ago, and so I think the having the last weekend off was really good for the guys. I think it was the first weekend that they had 2 full days off since the new year started.
Wow. Yeah. Well, we really appreciate all the hard work that they do and your whole team does. Does any committee member have any questions or comments? All right, I would ask Administrator Rodriguez, do you have anything to add?
Thank you, Chairman. I just want to thank County Engineer Stokes for his teamwork in helping make the hard decision to have a snow day at the county on the 16th. He and I and a couple of other major players like Chief Judge Fellheimer and Sheriff Sandage, we talked this through and do so for quite a while before we make such a major decision. But for the safety, definitely for the safety of the highway department employees being out in that storm, that was one of the major reasons we made the decision, let alone just for the safety of McLean County residents trying to travel into town and our own employees, obviously. So I just wanted to share that with the committee that, we absolutely appreciate all of the hard work of the highway department. And clearly, as Mr. Stokes just mentioned, this weekend was much needed for staff to rest and repair after all of that hard work. And on a fun note, no, they did not let me drive a snowplow. That is not why there are 50 some mailboxes down. So I always make jokes about how I wish I could drive one, but I really obviously never will. So thank you, Mr. Stokes and Mr. Hohulen, and to the whole staff. We appreciate you.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Everybody have a good week, and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.